drop-head version of the Austin A90. Very smooth looking car indeed. Great Mark II Cortina there, 4-door Mark II Cortina. Those are the original Inca alloy wheels. Pull your windows up and down. Such a bonny little vehicle. Here's that great little Mini, the Innocenti built Mini Cooper 1300. So this is 1913, there's the engine of this Chalmers. It's got all the old radio gear in there as well, Motorola. Clearly this old 1920s Humber is a much loved motor car. Well, morning folks, today we are at Trentham Gardens for the Trentham Gardens Classic and Retro Car Show. This is an event we haven't been to before. The little MX-5 brought us here safe and sound. There are cars still arriving, so we'll leave it a little while longer before we have a proper walk round here. Notes the Mark 1 A40 alongside us. We'll have a proper look at that one a bit later. But yeah, I've got to go and find Harley because he's dashed off in the direction of some old oil cans. So predictably enough, he'll be somewhere over there in the trade stands area. So we'll go and find him. And then once all the cars are here, then we'll have a proper look around just to see what's going to turn up here at Trentham Gardens. Got a few arrivals here. We just arrived at the Auto Jumble area. Harley hasn't bought anything yet, amazingly. I've got a bit of background music, so we're going to battle that, so we'll try and talk over that. So we're walking away from the music, so that's probably a good thing. There's still quite a queue of cars coming in. Big Granada here just arriving. Yeah, this Elan's been it's been in the queue to get in. We were in the queue as well. It took a little while. So we've got some improvised cooling arrangements on that one to keep the little twin cam engine happy. This is a classic and retro car show. So yeah, there'll be a bit of everything here today, including this Fiat Coupe.
And what you are doing, guys.
A little Nissan or Datsun. Which one is it? Nissan. That's right, a little Nissan Sunny.
Keeping a motor like that.
Would you get a load of that? An Austin A90 convertible, no less. A drop-head version of the Austin A90. What a bit of kit that is. Jensen Interceptor here, burbling its way in. Hillman Husky. We see this one gets all over the place. I've seen this at Weston Park and was it at Ragley Hall as well?
Well, this is stupid. Fiat Punto Sports got it as well. The power one, I've got 60, but it is negotiable, mate. Quite a rare one, isn't it, the power petrol, yeah. Oh, look, it's that Spitfire. Got some more lights on it.
That's lots of... You know, very good.
So what else have we got in the queue waiting to get in? Well, we have a Series 2 Jaguar XJ6 here. A very, very sharp looking car, nice colour. We used to have a Series 1 XJ in a very similar shade to that. Yeah, a very smooth looking car indeed. The Rover P6 2000, single carburettor. The Ford Escort, the RS 2000. Later Escort behind that, a little cabriolet, a Porsche, and a Nissan Skyline over there. Suzuki Super Carry. The Sierra behind that. The Ferrari, is it? Or is it not? And what do we have over here? Cars still queuing as far as the eye can see. And I can see an interesting old lorry down there as well. So I think we'll have a wander down and see what else is driving into the Trentham estate this morning. Let's carry on walking down the road. We've got a midget 1500, extra lamps on the front. Nice little car that is. Bedford, much modified CF or CF2. BMW Z3. Camaro, I think. Yeah, Camaro. Very fruity TR250. That was the American spec version of the TR5. Straight six, of course, but whereas the TR5 had the fuel injection, the American TR250s had twin Strombergs, I think. Certainly on carburetors, I think it was a twin Stromberg setup on those cars. But yeah, lovely, lovely car indeed. I do like those a lot and they sound fantastic. Modern Corvette here. Like I say, it's classic and retro cars. And here's that lorry I was saying about, a fantastic Austin K9. How cool is that? Austin K9 with radio body on the back. The driver in military garb as befits an ex-military vehicle. How cool is that? Lovely quiet petrol engine. Those were based on the Austin Lodestar, albeit four-wheel drive these were, I believe. What a cool looking machine. As regulars to old classic car will know, I do like a nice old commercial vehicle. And what a charismatic little vehicle this is. And for the price of an MGB or something, you could get a lovely Austin K9. What a Bobby Dazzler that is. That's fantastic. And the Mustang, a 65 Mustang, ex-California, judging by the plates. A Lotus Esprit, look at all these cars. TR6, lovely, lovely TR6, and a super low Marcos. And the C at the end of the registration plate tells us that's a 65 vehicle. Yeah, lovely, lovely looking machine. Here, various electric fans running, so I think there's a bit of a queue to get in today. We've got an E28 5 Series, is that an M5? It is. It's the M5. Wow, that's the daddy of the range, beautiful car. Really like those. What have we got down here? Range Rover Classic on an H plate. Good old classic Range Rover. And this is a special. This is a Triumph based special. Under there, under that swoopy fiberglass body, is the chassis that started out life under a Triumph Herald Coupe. What a great little car that is. We've seen this once or twice already this year, but certainly an eye-catching machine, so I'm definitely happy to feature it again. Very burbly Triumph engine there, fantastic. And talking of classic Triumphs, we've got a Stag, a 3-litre V8, very nice indeed. What next? An X350 Jaguar, the aluminium bodied car. A Triumph Dolomite, EY, that's a North Wales registration, looks like a Dolly Sprint if those alloy wheels and the badges are anything to go by. A TR6, fuel injected of course. I do like these. This is a Reliant Scimitar Coupe, the SE4, the Scimitar GT. Yeah, I do like those. Very handsome looking car, I think. very rare Opel Berliner, the record, Berliner for saloon. Yeah, Opel records, you don't see those too often here. I think we've seen that one at Crew Heritage. Lovely Austin Healey burbling in. The old C series, I think. Is that a 6-cylinder? Yeah. Very swish Austin Healey there. Midget, the MG Midget 1500, lovely car. Somewhat modified Capri there. And in its rearview mirrors, a very original looking Mark III Cortina. Another really smart Mark 1 Unos Roadster, the import version of the MX-5 Mark 1, Nova GSI. And this is a rare Mini, this is an Innocenti Mini. Note the quarter lights in the front doors. So this was, in effect, was the Italian assembled equivalent of our Mini Cooper. It's a much later car, but yeah, you can see it's badged up as Innocenti and the Mini Cooper. Very different dashboard in these cars. So, but yeah, quarter lights, opening quarter lights wasn't a feature in the British market or UK market cars, so that is rare. Look at the wheels as well, those I think were unique to the Innocentis, the Italian built cars. Yeah, really, really neat. Let's just have a quick look at the grille on badge. Yeah, that's a really rare little car, that is. Fantastic. Mini Cooper behind that. Clubman, a 1275 GT. An MGB GT L registration, an E30 BMW 3 Series Cabriolet. There's a bit of legwork involved in today's video. Mark II Golf. What's this? A Vauxhall Monaro. Somewhat lowered Triumph Toledo. There's one of those Toyota Sierras, I never know which way to pronounce it, with the lift-up gull-wing doors. Quite a cool car. It's a special import. I don't think they ever sold these here in the UK originally. I'm going to get run down by one of the Trentham estate vehicles. Golf GTI Mark II, big bumper. 3-door Mark III Escort there on a B registration, so that's about 1984. We've got a Rover 400. Another classic Mini there, lovely looking car. An E39 5 Series BMW. Another VW camper, we've seen several of those here today. That's about 1986 or somewhere around there. TR5 fuel injected 2.5 litre engine and another TR5 behind that. These always sound wonderful. What a great car that is. Yeah, really handsome British sports car. I do like those a lot. And what do we have here? A TR4, the 4-cylinder car. Forerunner of the 4A, which had the independent rear suspension. Yeah, that looks very purposeful indeed. Clearly bit of a Triumph gathering here today. I've seen quite a few coming in. Nice 911 there, very smart indeed with a whale tail. 77 MGB GT. MG, is that the ZS, the booted car. A couple of Minis cooling off. Modified Fiesta. Another MGB GT with opening Webasto type roof. A minivan. MGB Roadster. MGTF. MGF. Very appropriate registration number on that one. MGB Roadster. Big Bentley Continental GT. Ford Sierra GT, I think, going by the Sunstrip at the top of the windscreen there. Nissan Micra, we saw this one at Weston Park, I think. MG Maestro Turbo. Wow, that's a rare old girl. Occasionally you see an MG Maestro, but I don't think they made too many of these. Oh, and a Jowett Bradford pickup. Wow, look at that. It's not come too far. Stoke-on-Trent is just down the road, just down the A34 from where we are today at the Trentham estate. Well, that's a lovely old car. Nice to see some older cars here. There's a real mixture so far. There's a lot of steam coming from that Mini over there. Yeah, I can smell some very warm engines. Look at that, isn't that wonderful? So you could get these vans or pickups or the little estate cars as well. This one's running a little bit warm as well. It's venting out a bit from the overflow tube, but never mind about that, should be alright. But yeah, it's certainly a good test of your cooling system. What a lovely little truck that is. Still with a little semaphore indicator popped up. Series 1 Land Rover behind that. Let's keep going down here. The cars are still pouring in. An Escort Mark IV Cabriolet. The Fiesta XR2. Good morning. Oh, Ford Fiesta. Lots of waving passengers. Much modified. Was that a Dolly? I think it was a Dolomite rather than a Toledo. TVR. A Chimera. E46 Cabriolet. The 3 Series BMW. A very stately, magnificent looking Rover P4. Lovely quality cars these were. 105S. Really, really nice. Note the rear hinge back doors are so-called suicide doors at the back. These were made well into the 1960s, but you don't see many other cars in the 60s fitted with the rear hinge doors like that. It does make getting in and out of the back a whole lot easier. So yeah, real quality car. That beautiful wood and leather interior. Mercedes, a very fruity sounding Mark II Ford Escort here. That looks like fun. A Sierra Sapphire Cosworth. Focus RS. Another BMW, an E46 Coupe. Is that an M3? Oh. We will be prioritising the older cars, but I do like to have a look at a little bit of everything that's here, and a rare MG Montego Turbo no less. Good heavens. I don't think we've seen this one before. There's quite a few cars we haven't actually seen before. So that's another benefit of going to a show for the first time. You do see a slightly different pool of cars, some familiar faces, but quite a few that we haven't seen before. So yeah. And we had there was quite a queue even when we came in before. What's that? Nissan 370Z, I think. Toyota Land Cruiser. A mighty Land Cruiser. Cortina 1600E. And I think we'll just wait for the other ones to drive up. Cattle grids pose no problems for the magnificent Rolls Royce there. Oh, just for the added variety, a lovely 2005 Vauxhall van with some very enthusiastic owners. Where's the thumbs up? Yeah. The cars are still arriving. Lovely burble there. The Triumph Stag follows the Audi TT. TT definitely a future classic if it's not already. I do like the shape of those. burbling away very quietly next to me here is a Shadow 2, the Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow 2. And like the Rolls that we saw before, it's not going to have much of a problem negotiating this very bumpy looking cattle grid. I don't think either of these Land Rovers appreciated being stuck quite so long in the traffic to get here, so if you're coming to any of these events, really, it certainly pays to get here really, really early if you can do that. We should have been here a lot earlier, but had to make an emergency fuel stop, well, an unplanned fuel stop, so that slowed us up a little bit. And I don't think our little Renault would have approved too much of queuing to get in. I think we're on top of the running issues that we did have with it. We're getting a bit warm, and it was the rotor arm that was the main culprit, that and a few other ignition components we did change on that particular car back at home, but I don't think it would have liked, especially being rear engined, I don't think it would have liked sitting in this queue of traffic. There's a BMW, another 5 Series at the back there, also looks like it's been getting a little bit warm in the queue. Look at that, Talbot Horizon, Mrs. OCC's first car. That was her first car, one of those, the Horizon, and you hardly ever see them now. The Horizon GLS. Nice proper mud flaps on it as well, Talbot mud flaps. Rare scenes. Triumph Spitfire there with a twin pipe exhaust. Big W126, the S-Class Mercedes, somewhat lowered. AMG wheels on it. AMG body kit as well, actually. I remember those in the 1980s. There were all sorts of fancy body kits you could get from Zender and AMG and so on for your big Mercedes saloons. It's a nice preserved example there. An XK8 convertible, Mustang, and a Mercedes ice cream van. Yeah, the Landed just needed a 5-minute pull over just to cool off a little bit, and there she goes, a lovely Series 1. They seem to be increasingly popular now. You see these so often, and many of these sort of classic and retro shows that we go to. This is an RS Turbo. RS 1600i, that's a rare old girl. These, I think these just about predate the XR3i's. They're quite rare now. This appears to have a hot rod here. Seems to be Ford based, judging by that front end. The teardrop headlights suggest late 1930s Ford, or whether it still has a late 1930s Ford flathead V8 under the bonnet, I'm not quite sure, but yeah, quite a cool looking car. That is followed by an E36 BMW, a BMW 3 Series Cabriolet with hardtop. Behind that, a Peugeot 305. Last time I saw one of those, there was a couple of them in a field in northern France when we went there last year. See the video if you've not seen it yet already. But yeah, you hardly ever see one of these on the road here in the UK. It's great to see these cars, once so familiar, such a common sight on the roads. I remember those in the late 1980s, but they've all but disappeared now, so it's great. There's just a few of them still around coming along to these shows, because it's a real blast from the past. That would have been on the road about the time I was starting to learn to drive. Right, that tells you how old that car is. Another fruity looking and sounding TVR there. What an amazing car. Hopefully TVR will rise from the ashes. There are plans, well, there have been plans for several years for production to recommence with a new model at a purpose-built factory in Wales, but whether that will actually come to anything or not, who knows. But fingers crossed it does, because we need car makers like TVR still to be around. Right, let's carry on. What have we got along here? We've got an XJS Cabriolet with the American spec quad headlamps. Behind that, an XJS Coupe, one of the facelifted cars. Very swish gliding in, There's a Rolls-Royce Silver Spirit there behind that. Oh, what a sharp looking car that is. When these were current, these were a big car, but somehow now they don't look so big. Great Mark II Cortina there, 4-door Mark II Cortina. And behind that, one of those very odd looking little VWs there. Tiny engines in those, if I remember, is it the XL? I can't remember, the XL5 or the XL15, something like that. Yeah, what an eye-catching car. I think the last time I saw one of these was at the car meeting they have at Avro Heritage, the museum over at Woodford. XL1, that's what it is. And it wasn't too far out. Behind that, another Escort RS Turbo, the early series car. The Morris Minor, this has been doing the rounds for many, many years. It started out as a van, then disappeared for a few years and reappeared as this, a home conversion into a pickup. Very neat little car. Behind that, fairly late example of the Fiat X19, the Bertoni designed Fiat X19, little mid-engine sports car. Mark II Ford Escort 2-door behind that, with quad CB lamps on the front. Another X19 in the queue there. The electric fan whirring away to itself. Morris Minor 1000 behind that. And one of the later MGTFs from 2003. Bonnet up on a Cortina there as well, next to the BMW 5 Series. Good news, the BMW and the Cortina are back on the road again. They've cooled off a little bit. Looks like some of the cars are heading off into the gardens over yonder, so we'll have to have a wander around there a bit later as well. The cars are still queuing to get into the main showground up ahead. Well, I think we have probably reached the end of the queue, so let's walk back up to the main show area. Not sure if the Passat qualifies for classic or retro, so we'll skip past that. Let's see if we can catch up with the MGTF and the F registered L plate adorned Morris Minor 1000 in hot pursuit of the pickup conversion Morris just in front of it. What a super clean Morris Minor 1000. I do like the proper number plates on the back as well. And a tow bar as well hanging off the rear end. So many uses this one can be put to. I just overheard someone saying there are 900 cars pre-booked for the show here today at Trentham. And there'll be a few turning up on the gate as well. So that's probably over 1,000 cars are due here today. Hence a little bit of a delay in some of the later arriving cars actually getting in. But I think most of the cars are in here now, so we will amble back up towards the show area past this incredible VW XL1. What a wild looking thing that is.
Do you think that was like
Chevy Nova. Well, the American car section here, we'll have to scoot along a bit because of the music in the background. Fantastic Plymouth here. That's a really great looking car next to the Mustang. And another Plymouth here, an open top Plymouth, Ontario, so come over from Canada at some point. There's that Cadillac, I think it's a diesel we saw coming in before. Buick, there's that Camaro SS. And the modern-ish Corvette, notchback Mustang 1965 that we saw driving in before. The Chrysler 300C. There's the old police car and the hot-rodded Ford. Well, I think we'll we'll have a look around the individual entries. This field here is for people who've booked in individually, and over there is the car clubs area. But yeah, here we go with the music, so we're going to have to try and avoid that if we can. There's the Mini. This is a Nissan Bluebird Turbo. An Austin A35 for sale here, 4-door Austin A35. There you go, ladies and gentlemen, if you fancy a little classic car, a great starter classic, there you go. Just want a proper set of number plates on it and then off you go. What a super clean little car that is. Cortina, next to that a Rover P6, the 2200 SC. SC for single carburettor, there's a brake servo there. Yeah, Suzuki Cappuccino. Quite an interesting little Japanese car there. And look at this, a beige Sierra 1.6 GL. Another example of the sort of car that used to be everywhere at one time. Next to that, Ford Capri Laser, BMW 5 Series, an E34 car. There's that TR6. Oh, and a bit more music to battle against, but never mind, we will plough on regardless. And look at this here, the Austin Apache. And over here we've got the Opel Omega version, or the equivalent of the Lotus Carlton. And let's carry on down here past the XK8. A few later cars here. This W109 series Mercedes-Benz we saw for sale recently at the Eccleshall show. I think the video of that particular event is now live on the channel elsewhere, so please check that out if you haven't seen it yet. But yeah, this is a magnificent W109. So the W108 was a 6-cylinder car, and the W109 was this car, the V8 powered machine. The V8 cars also had air suspension as well, just for added complexity. But yeah, very handsome, real quality car. Okay, a bit of Buddy Holly on the music now, and this is that turbocharged V4 Saab we've seen once before. Next to the factory-built Saab Turbo, the Saab 99 Turbo. And I do like these, I would love one of these, a 2-door in black. That would be very welcome back at OCC HQ. I think the 99 Turbos were originally launched in about 1977, I think, 1985cc 4-cylinder engine, turbocharged with a Garrett turbo under the bonnet of these great cars, and these transformed the fortunes and the name of Saab. Whereas before they were sort of known for building sort of reputable but fairly middle of the road saloons and hatchbacks, but when the turbo came along it just transformed their image. Those are the original Inca alloy wheels. The design of those was inspired by the rotors, the rotor vanes inside the turbochargers. That's where they got the idea for the Inca wheels. These were only ever fitted on the 99 Turbo and the early 3-door 900 Turbo, so to get a good set of those wheels probably isn't too easy now either. But yeah, I just do love these cars. I just think they're such a cool performance car of the late 70s, early 1980s. Another row and another mixture of retro and classic cars. Look at this 105e Anglia here, that's quite a neat looking little car. 118 DOV, the registration. I don't think we've seen this one before. Next to that, Mark III Mini, a very early example of the Mark III Mini, I think. Mini 850, a W8 engine VW Passat, a bit of a wolf in sheep's clothing, a Golf GTI we saw before. Let's carry on round here, see what we can see. The MX-5, Nissan Figaro, Tobacco Brown 3.5 Rover P6 and a Volvo 960 or 940. This is a slightly later car, the S90, going off the information sheet at the front there, but let's keep going this way away from the music. Next R3i, just a little bit calmer over this side of the field. So we've got a brace of fast forwards there, complete with many scale extric cars in the window. Just look at all that. Wow, look at all these scale extric cars, and well, actually little die-cast cars those, aren't they? But look in there, there's the scale extric, I think. Wow, look at all these. Yeah, that's an incredible collection. And we've got a 100E Prefect here. We see this one very regularly at the classic car shows. Same with this one here as well. A Subaru Mini with bonnet off. Let's keep going down here. Audi Quattro, And a Saab 96. I imagine this one probably isn't turbocharged like the other example we saw a few moments ago. A great little Citroen Fourgonette, the 2CV base van. Saw this one at Goresworth, I think, for the first time. That was earlier this year, 2023. And a Peugeot RCZ. Okay, a new battery, and next row. Lovely Mini next to the Mark II Cortina. The 2R5 there, the PI car. Seen a few of those today in one of the M100 series, the front wheel drive, Isuzu powered Lotus Elans. Great colour. Mark 1 Lotus Cortina on a 66 registration. Looks like a bit of a giggle as well. Occasionally we see the earlier car at many of the events we go to. I don't think we've seen this one though. This one's 1966 and it's the Airflow car. Slightly different grille and side light arrangements on these slightly later Mark 1s, and of course the earlier cars were badged up as Consul as well, but by this point in time they were Cortinas. Here we've got a 1300 GT Mark 1 Ford Escort. A real bunch of bananas manifold there. It's a cool little car, that is. Oh, it's really, really nice little car. Here, Mini Cooper. Another Maestro. Didn't see this one driving in before. I think probably quite a few of these cars were already here when we arrived because we weren't the earliest today. The Honda Beat. Right here, let's carry on. Golf here, one of the Carmen converted Golf cabriolets. Elvis is still singing his heart out in the background there, but the volume has turned down a little bit, which is not entirely unwelcome. Right, an R129 Mercedes SL there. Mark II or 2.5 MX-5. Hyundai, don't know much about that. Mark 1 Astra, a GTE. The Volvo P1800 on nice period alloy wheels. Sierra XR 4x4, the four-wheel drive V6 powered Sierras, and another P1800 here, lovely shade of pale greeny yellow, another Spirit, pretty wild looking VW based buggy. Now I like this, a Sunbeam Rapier, bit of info in the window there, Sunbeam Rapier Series 3A. Look at that here, two-door, hardtop coupe, 1592cc, 1963. Quite a swish, sporty saloon. These are of course based on the contemporary Hillman Minks, but significantly revised. Two-door, pillarless saloon, coupe rather, so you can wind both the side windows down and you've got a very airy open cabin. Oh, yeah, really stylish little cars, popular in rallying in the late 1950s, the Monte Carlo rally, that kind of event. It's a very clean example, that is. There aren't too many good ones of these left. They went through a period of sort of being bodged up, full of filler and everything, just to keep them going, probably in the 70s and the early 1980s, just to keep them on the road. But those that have survived to now have all been, I'm sure they've pretty much all been restored now, and probably in better condition than they were 30 years ago. But that's a lovely, lovely little car, that is. I do like that a lot. Okay, Mark III Cortina next to that. Capri. Another Mark III Cortina. This is a V6 powered car. And there's that VW XL1 on the end here. Okay, MG, classic MG midget there next to the Triumph TR6. The immaculate 1600E version of the Ford Cortina Mark II. A few goodies for sale in there. Owner's handbooks. Nothing that we need. It looks really original in here. I remember ogling this engine bay a little while ago, but it looks so original and messed with all the original spot welds on the top of the suspension towers there where the McPherson struts bolt through. So many of these cars have been plated up around there because that was a real common rot spot on many of these cars, not just Cortinas but Escorts and other cars that had this kind of suspension. But yeah, it's good to see all those original spot welds there. You can see a tubular extractor manifold as well. What do we have here? Another Lovely Cortina, 1600E. Kind of rivals back in the day, the Triumph GT6 Mark III and the MGB GT alongside, but not any old MGB GT, because the bonnet's up and we can see that it's got the Rover 3.5 litre engine hiding away under that bonnet, and it's got the V8 only alloy wheels as well, so that's a bit of a giveaway. But yeah, definitely rivals back in the day. Which one would you go for? The straight six, very smooth 6-cylinder engine of the GT6, or the woofly V8 of the MGB GT? Both great cars, similar age. There's the Rover V8 engine shoehorn there under the bonnet. Oh, very nice indeed. Now this is a rare one. This is the Riley Kestrel, the Riley version of the AD016, the BMC's 1100 and later 1300cc cars. The Wolsleys, there was the Vandenplast, but you don't see many of these Riley Kestrels. The Kestrel name, of course, goes back to the pre-war years, as we've discussed before in previous videos. But this is a super clean car from early 1967. Same colour as the Vandenplast that Dad used to have a few years ago. He had a really nice low mileage one of these, well, the Vandenplast version. They drove really well, just like a big Mini really, and of course also designed by Alec Itagonis, who penned the Mini and the 1800 and other cars as well. But yeah, really nice to see this Riley version here today. Right, let's carry on. There's that facelifted XJS and the Nova GSI. Very smart indeed. Not quite sure what this kit car is. Souped up Mini. Mark 1 MX-5 of course. The Fiat Panda. The Chevette hatch. Very big wheels. And another one on very big wheels. And another one on fairly standard size wheels. And next to that, an Escort RS Cosworth. Very shiny. I don't think they're ever this shiny from the factory. We've seen this immaculate Capri before. Great little Mini, and another Austin A35, but this one a 2-door car rather than a 4-door, and this one, unless the sign says otherwise, this one isn't for sale, but the 4-door one was. But yeah, a lovely little A35, great to see that here today. Oh, there's our little MX-5 parked on the end of the row here, covered in flies. Here's that Mark 1 Austin A40 Farina that we saw when we drove in before. Had a quick chat with the owner of that, which was nice. This one is in regular use. There's a few Mark 2 bits on this one, so it's basically Mark 1 1960, the same year as our own A40. But there are a few little updates lifted from the Mark 2 Austin A40, which was introduced I think in about 1961 or 2. This has got the doors of a Mark 2 with the wind-up windows, all the luxuries. Because the Mark 1s just have a little Perspex block stuck on the glass there, same as the A35, and you have to pull your windows up and down. It's also got the Mark 2 boot lid, a different plinth on there. Oh, you can see the Mark 1 dashboard, very different to that of the Mark 2 A40 that came along later. All the Mark 1s were fitted originally with a 948cc engine, and the Mark 2 started out with a 948, but it wasn't long before they upgraded it to the 1098, which was also fitted to the Morris Minor 1000. So yeah, great to see another A40 out in regular use. And by complete contrast, we have a Lotus Esprit Turbo, a very low-slung car there, mid-engine, Porsche, a 5-door Mark III Ford Escort next on the next registration. I think we've seen this one at one of the Crew Heritage meets that we went to, so check out the videos for Crew Heritage, because they tend to get some interesting cars turning up there, usually at the beginning and the end of the main show season. That's when the Crew Heritage meet is at its most popular, and I'm sure we've seen this little Ford there before now. Okay, let's carry on down here. One of the Mark II, I think, versions of the VW Scirocco, a Scirocco Coupe, late 1980s, a Capri Laser. Quite a late one on an 86, I think 86 or 87 registration. Now this Jaguar, this sounded very fruity when we saw it driving in before. I think this is an XJR version of the X350, the aluminium bodied Jaguars. It certainly sounded very burbly when it went past us on the dual carriageway while we were queuing to get in before. There's that P4 Rover, the 105S. A super straight P6 2000, how nice is that? Always good to see a nice early Rover P6. I do love the the tin front on these earlier first series cars. This one on a G registration, MGB of course. Quite a funky looking VW based buggy here. It's the second similar car that we've seen today. Nice and quiet. Right, MGTF, a duo of TFs. And that's that, a Marlin. I think this is a kit car. Another example alongside this. We're only watching a video the other day on YouTube of people trialling these. They seem to be very popular in the off-road trialling scene. A beautiful Lotus Elan here, showing off its dinky little twin cam engine there. This one's fed by a pair of Weber carburetors, just about fit in there. Looks like the airbox has been made especially for this particular car, as it's quite a tight fit in there. Is that carbon fibre or carbon fibre effect? I'm not quite sure, but yeah, lovely. This is the one that I think had the bonnet raised as it was coming in, because yeah, there's not much air, there's not much room and not much airflow I imagine through here, so I'm guessing these newer radiators are probably a lot more efficient than the rads that were fitted to the cars back in the 1960s. And yeah, what a sweet little car. Yeah, beautiful little sports car. Next to that we've got that E36 Cabriolet with hardtop, removable hardtop. And there's that Peugeot 305 SR. Like I said, the last time I saw a couple of these, they were in the field looking very sad, and they've been there for a very, very long time in northern France. But yeah, I do like it when we see something we haven't seen before, or certainly a type of car that I haven't seen for years out and about. The Peugeot 305 SR. The windows wound up, I'm sure we can have a peek in. Some very comfy looking seats in there. Apologies for any reflections of yours truly. Yeah, 5-speed manual gearbox. Well, let's carry on up here past the Morris Mark 1 Mini, the Mini Minor, on the B-Reg 1964. Great colour scheme, the green with the white roof, or the off-white. Probably Old English white, I imagine. Yeah, Mini Minor. Very cool little car indeed. Mercedes 190, 190E, because the 190 name goes back to the 1950s. And we've got a Fiesta XR2 there, big Merc V8, a lot of engine there. And the Z3, E46 Cabriolet. Right, let's keep looking for some more of the old cars here at Trentham. Oh, what do we have here? The Cortina Lotus, effectively the Lotus Cortina Mark II, but always badged or always sold as the Cortina Lotus. But yeah, neat car. I think they're all based on the two-door body shell, the Lotus versions. RS. And at the end of the row is that Moggy pickup. So let's carry on over here. And this is quite rare, this Nissan Sunny, the coupe. When did you last see one of these? Very wedgy styling, very 1980s, but super rare now. And how different is that to the car alongside it? The glorious A90 Atlantic drop-head coupe. If you saw one of the Western Park videos I did a little while ago, I had a lengthy interview with the owner of a car just like this, the A90. That was really interesting. That particular car was fitted with all the options. It had a power hood, power windows. I think the last of the A90s, they just loaded up all the options on them just to try and get them to sell, because they weren't great sellers. Yeah. Designed very much with the American market in mind, but America didn't really take to them in huge numbers, because this was from the era of export or die, when foreign currency was really needed to help rebuild the country following World War II. So priority was given to the export of cars. So whereas you could go to Earl's Court in the late 1940s and the early 50s and see lots of new cars on display, most of them you wouldn't actually be able to buy even if you could afford them. Most of them went straight to the docks, onto the boat and abroad to the export markets such as America and Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Many of the old Austin cars of that era ended up over there. And quite a few of them have been repatriated since. But yeah, what a treat to see this A90 drophead here today. What a great car that is. It's such a contrast of cars, but it's just so interesting to see so many old cars being preserved like this. On the end of the row here, another wonderful example of the Triumph TR6. Kind of thought I would have bumped into my youthful assistant by now. I'm not quite sure where he is. I think he's doing a video for his car traction channel, as always. And I thought I would have bumped into him by now, but it could be anywhere. It's quite a big field here. Right, let's keep on going down this row. The Volkswagen Beetle, a homemade cabriolet. This isn't one of the Carman converted cars. This is one that someone else has enterprisingly converted from a regular saloon. And the Jensen Interceptor with many, many louvers in the bonnet in a bid to try and keep that mighty Chrysler engine a little bit cool. So it was the Interceptor was a replacement for the CV8. There's another Escort Mark III. There's a Hillman Husky. We've seen this at so many different events now, and it's always a treat to see it at these shows. It's a fantastic little car that is. And the Punto Sporting. This one's appeared at one or two events as well, but again, really, really rare car, and this one in beautiful condition as well. And again, an example of just those sort of cars that used to be everywhere at one time, but now, not so often. And this is a Nissan Cube. This will be a special import. I don't think they ever sold those here. Then we've got the Esprit, a slightly earlier Lotus Esprit. This Spitfire. We've seen this once or twice. We last saw this at the Cholmondeley Arms meet that we took the Dodge pickup to just a few weekends ago. Every time we see this, it changes. I think last time was the first time we saw it with these extra cream bits painted on it, and today it's the first time we've seen it with these huge lamps hung off the front. So clearly a car that's evolving every time we see it. Yeah, it's very cool with the Ashley fastback roof on it. So that would replace either the factory hardtop or the folding roof. This one's actually been blended on, so there's no taking this one off and reverting easily back to convertible motoring. Yeah, it's very reminiscent of the GT6, of course, the six-cylinder GT6s, and in fact the Works Le Mans Spitfire racers. They had a fastback roof on as well, but still with the four-cylinder engines. Yeah, this is an Ashley roof. I used to have one of these on my first Mark III. So yeah, great car. Okay, down here, Mercedes SLK. There's that Skyline R34, which Harley will be very pleased about because he's quite a fan of some of these sort of slightly middle-aged JDM, Japanese domestic market cars. So he'll be pleased to see that, I'm sure. Then we've got the 911, and on the end of the row, one of the Series 1 RS Turbos. Okay, got a Porsche Boxster and a VW Camper here. Let me know in the comments which of these cars you'd be taking home with you. Perhaps it would be this, a rare Bravo limited edition version of the Ford Fiesta Mark I of the 1970s and just about into the early 1980s. I think these were produced. You don't see too many of those around now, especially these limited edition versions. We've got a Morris Minor 1000 here, two-door car, some very fruity looking wheels, mini light type wheels. Another Esprit, a two-door Morris Minor here on what looked like Marina wheels, slightly wider Marina pattern wheels, I think. Okay, let's keep going up here, hunting down the oldies for the old classic car channel, past the Escort Cabriolet and the RS 2000 that we saw driving in before. That really smart Series 2 XJ6 on a P registration. A Mini 35, celebrating then 35 years since the Mini had gone into production way back in 1959. A really clean Mark I VW Golf 5-door hatch, slightly lowered, different wheels, but a very crisp shape, really nice, simple, uncluttered shape. Something that modern day car designers seem to have forgotten, just simplicity and elegance. That lovely little dainty mirror. Like the rear window blind. The Golf L. You see quite a few Golf GTIs around, but not so many. They're sort of the more regular spec cars, so It's really cool to see this one here. And it's a fairly early Mark 1 with a smaller back light. Sometimes you see the facelifted Mark 1s with a bigger, blockier rear lights, but this is quite an early example. I think these were designed to replace the Beetle, but it didn't really happen, at least not straight away anyway. Oh, really nice to see that one. The convertible version alongside. Got an Alfa Romeo Coupe here. And on the end, one of the 595 versions of the Fiat 500 Abarth. So, how far have you got?
Done everything.
I think some cars may have been going over in the gardens over there somewhere, because some of the cars were diverting when they were coming in.
General stuff is here, clubs on the other side.
Yeah, I haven't made my way up to the clubs bit yet, so I'm just working my way around here. Past the TR6 and the low-slung Marcos. Really nicely preserved ranging. And the Triumph Base Special here. What a funky looking car that is. A Stag. Let's carry on down here. There's that Triumph Dolomite Sprint, 16 valve engine there on display. Very sharp looking car. There's that sort of car which is like an evocation, I suppose, of a pre-war Mercedes. Not quite sure what this is based upon. General Motors. Slightly more familiar to my ageing British eyes is this Mark III Escort here, the 3-door hatch. A bit of history here for you. 1985, 4-speed, 1296cc. It's got the 1.3 CVH engine, built April 1985 in Germany. Pause the video if you want to have a quick read about the history of this little Ford car. And there's a Rover 400, or to be precise, the 414 SLI. The booted version, you could get the 200, which was a hatchback, and the 400 series was the booted saloon. I do miss booted saloons. Oh, nip past this very clean little Mini, I like that. And the E39 BMW 5 Series, the MG ZS, Fiesta and a Focus. Here's the little Jarrett Bradford flying the flag for 1940s cars. There aren't too many 30s and 40s cars here, so let's give this one a bit of a looking over. Lovely sign writing on the door. Very dinky little driver's compartment, yes. Yeah, really, really sweet little vehicle. Practical too, handy for tip runs, that kind of thing. Oh, super little machine. It's built in Bradford, of course, in Yorkshire, just after World War II, I imagine. These are usually about late 1940s, 1948, 1949, some date around about there. Oh, such a bonny little vehicle. Let's carry on along here past the quite a rare Sierra GT. Ooh, don't see many of those now. Wonder what the difference is between the GT and the regular Sierras. Let me know in the comments. Were they slightly tuned up a bit, perhaps? I'm not too well up on my Sierras, but there. Oh, let's carry on up here past the Bentley and the Toyota. Is that Triumph Toledo, somewhat lowered, quite a lowered Triumph Toledo. The V8 Monaro, the Vauxhall Monaro, which hails from Australia. A very original looking Mark II Golf here. I remember we had one of these, we had the Sea Reg Golf in bright orange. Okay, there's that E33 Series BMW, and quite a rare Nova, the GSI. Quite rare sought after cars now. As are these, of course. We do like these, but we are biased, heavily biased. Now there's that 1300cc Ford Cortina Mark III. What a straight and original looking car is that. I've got a feeling I've peered through the window of this one before, but I was just amazed at the condition of the interior. Apologies for the reflections in the windows. Cortina L. There's that Opel Record Berliner on the end of the row here. Definitely quite early, this Series 1 Land Rover, very original looking Landy. Late, well, they came out in 48 and this is an early one because the headlights are behind the grille. So it's an early Series 1, so 48, 49, that kind of era. I'm not sure when they moved altered the headlights and the grille, but this is an early one. Looks like it's on a new galvanised chassis, or at least the forward end of the chassis perhaps, but I'm not going to go clambering around underneath to see if it's the full chassis because I probably won't get back up again. But yeah, what a treat to see such an early Landy. Look at that lovely period heater unit there.
Stop copying my ideas.
Apparently Harley's already been around here photographing that heater unit.
I'm done.
Look at the wiper motor there, designed to take out the passengers' kneecaps. Yeah. What a great little thing. Right.
Not even lunch and I'm done.
Yeah? You're already done, are you?
Well, what? 2 years. You always do like a bit here and there after, but...
Yeah. Well, we'll just carry on our walk around. There's a lot of cars here today.
Leisurely amble.
A leisurely amble. Or for our American viewers, a leisurely amble. Rover P4. Mercedes, of course.
Look at the engine.
A 1600 Sport.
Got an Opel engine.
An Opel engine.
Well, see, that's got open cards and it seems to not get like loads of dirt in it. So we see if we can get those on the standard.
There's a Sapphire Cosworth. The Focus RS. And that immaculate gleaming Montego Turbo. Oh, not something you see very often at all. These things used to rust away just after a few years of use. Back arches, front arches, sills, all used to get frilly after a very short time. So I'm guessing this one has seen probably quite a lot of restoration work.
To be honest, I don't think it's a bad looking car at all.
Well, they're quite sharp looking, isn't it?
It's all a bit like Granada and a bit of Sierra. I actually prefer the look of it to a Sierra probably.
Yes.
Being the MG one, you know.
Yeah, certainly an unusual beast. Yeah. There's a huge Land Cruiser. A little Austin Healey Sprite on the end here.
Mark II.
Yeah, I think it'll be a Mark II, won't it? Still with the clip-in windows. It doesn't have wind-up windows. It still has a removable side screens of the previous Austin Healey Sprite Mark I, the Frog Eye. And of course, this shape went on to grace many midgets, MG midgets, for years to come.
So would they originally have been the square arch instead of the round arch?
The round arch came later, and then they reverted back to the square arch again on the midgets.
Yeah, they weren't using it. I bought it saying, yeah.
The mighty 940 Volvo estate here, beloved of antiques dealers. Even to this day, you still see these turning up at antique fairs and so on.
That's your thing, there's a huge Volvo club over there.
Is there? Oh, well, we'll have a look at the club. We'll have a look at the club stand there a little bit later. The Rover P4 here, the Rover 100, this one in green this time.
This one's got a nice portable radio.
Was it?
I bet you like that caravan one, don't you?
The Caravan Club here, that's nice.
I bet you like that.
Yeah, very nice badge. We like a few badges. Porsche and Stag. There's that TT that we saw briefly on the arrivals. Smart Roadster. A little midget there, Mark 1 Capri. RS 1600 Ford Escort Mark 1. Saw this one driving in as well. Something looks non-original with that particular engine. A Beetle. The Mini. Many things going on with this Mini. Wow. Good grief. What's that then? Not sure what we're looking at there, but very, very different. Nice. Cortina on the end here, glistening away to itself. Lovely, lovely car. Appears to be open mic time on the stage, way over there. Someone's singing, so we'll, for better or worse, we are over this side and we're going further and further away from the singing, which is a great disappointment, but there's a lovely Landy.
That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, nice little Spitfire. Matches your pulley. Matches your pullover. There's that Talbot Horizon. Your mum's first car was one of those.
Oh, same colour.
Hers was white, I think.
Oh, Festival of the Unexceptional.
Like with that Peugeot 305 I was looking at before, it's just great to see these regular cars still being saved. Because often it's the halo models in the range that get saved first, the sporty ones and so on, and your regular saloon cars often got forgotten about. A sea of velour, very comfy looking interior.
It says it's one of two in this colour.
Really?
Wow, those seats.
Yep.
Whoa.
Super comfy velour trim.
Shows fans, haven't they? With all those,
Yes.
all those cars.
Right, we're getting towards the end of the individually booked entrance here today. And after this row we will go and have a look at the car club section, see what gems are to be found over there. Got a Series 3 Land Rover here of the early 1970s, about 71ish. There's the Cortina Mark 5. Yep. It's got an M badge on it.
It's 535.
It says a 535i because I saw it as it was coming in. Yeah, very sharp looking car.
It's an auto though, which puts a lot of people off.
Got the MGF here. Right, to the side of the road now. Let's go and have a look at the car club area. Now there are quite a few modern-ish cars here, so as befits the old classic car channel, we will be prioritising some of the older machines. Yeah, we will sniff out those old cars for you, loyal followers of the old classic car channel, including, for example, this lovely little fixed head MGA.
That's really nice.
Fixed head coupe.
I love these little door handles.
Yeah, they're really neat little, very distinctive door handles, aren't they? Very, very cosy in there. Yeah, lovely curvy rear screen as well, or screens, 3-piece rear screen. Oh, really, really nice. A 1600 engine.
Drums on the back.
Yeah.
Is that like MGBs? Do MGBs have that?
Oh, very handsome little cars. And its younger brother here, with a Merc alongside that. Here's that great little Mini, the Innocenti built Mini Cooper 1300. It's effectively the Italian built equivalent of the 1275 Mini Cooper or the Cooper S.
1300 is quite big, isn't it?
Yeah, they go well that. With the added benefit of opening quarter lights. Great sticker in the window there.
So is this Italian made for Italian market?
No, yeah, notice the different dash, very different dash with all those extra gauges built into that sort of binnacle that extends over to the passenger side.
Benzina.
Yeah, that was a thing that was unique to these Innocenti Minis.
Oleo. But why is it right-hand drive then?
Don't know.
It's been converted.
It may have been converted, I don't know. Yeah, don't know.
I don't know, it's just... So this is made for the Italian market.
What a great little car that is. A few classic Fords along here. That's the Escort Cosworth with a whale tail on the back. And a super clean 4-door Cortina Mark 1 here. Looks like Revolution alloy wheels on this one. How clean is that? Beautiful dark green, immaculate chrome, early car, pre-aeroflow, the narrower grille, different side lights. But Cortina, as I mentioned, the early cars were consoles, then they went to Cortina badging, and then they went to the aeroflow. Yeah. Lovely original interior in there. I hope this comes out on the camera. Look how straight it is down the side there. Right, and over here, XR3i. And a P100 pickup.
What's it got?
Mitsubishi, is it Delica? Something like that. Oh, hello. See what oldies we've got over here. Got an XK140, which my youthful assistant, who's already been round it, tells me has an auto box fitted, which would be
Because most autos are just like a Porsche.
oh yeah,
Like the more modern Jaguar ones, I remember on Grandad's, they like go around like that, don't they?
oh, the J gate, yeah.
So that's like,
that's a modern Jaguar auto gearbox with a J pattern gate.
Do you think it's the original engine?
I don't know. Is it? Right. Did you? Yeah. So what's the gearbox from then? Is it X300? XJ40 is it? Right. Wow.
Yeah, there was a guy in Hales Owen that did a kit.
So, but it's still got the XK engine though, right? So it's like an adapter plate to make it fit the gearbox, because the XJ,
it's a different bell housing.
because the XJ40 was the AJ6 engine, wasn't it? They changed it, didn't they? It was the AJ6 on those, and then this was the XK, wasn't it? But no, it's fantastic, isn't it?
But it works really well in it.
Yeah, does it?
I mean, it's only because I've only got the one arm basically.
Yeah. And it's all Jaguar bits as well, so it's sort of
Jaguar on.
yeah,
It's all Jaguar bits. Well, apart from
No science.
what a handsome car that is. Many more Jaguars over here. Jaguar Enthusiast Club. If I missed your car and you are here today, I apologise. But we can't get everything into these videos. Perhaps check out Harley's video, because sometimes he features cars that I've missed. Well, I feature cars that he might have missed, though he'd never admit to it.
That's a 535 manual.
Is it?
This Jensen's interesting.
No,
It's
here's
injected.
the Jensen Healy that we followed in this morning.
It's injected.
Yeah, fuel injection. So it's on throttle bodies, is it?
Yeah. Probably sounds quite good.
Yeah.
Twin cam.
Yeah.
Go quite well.
The classic Saab 900 at the back there, quite fond of those. And the Suzuki. Is this the SJ410? It's the SJ410 series. Well, this was the 413, does that say? Yeah.
Oh, I said it was a chimney.
It's, yeah, similar, isn't it? So there is that Saab that we were looking at a moment ago, the four-door saloon version. Most of the ones that you see in preservation are the hatchbacks. But they did also these booted saloons as well. This is the 900i, so non-turbo, but it is fuel-injected. Saabs of this era, the turbos had the blacked-out window surrounds just to make them look a little bit cooler. But this is the regular fuel-injected Saab. You could also get carburettor cars. But just really, really comfortable, well-made, well-thought-out saloons. Look how wrapped around the screen is. You've got a really good view out of the front of these. Really excellent visibility. Proper old Saab. The M6 Junction 16 Motoring Club, the Cortina GXL. We've seen this one before at Middlewich, I think, last time. We've got a Herald 1200. This is a fairly late example of the 1200. I think by this point in time they were also selling the 1360 with the 1300 engine and a slightly different headlamps with a sort of slanty, angled bonnet, if you like. But this is sort of the earlier style of Herald that came out in 1959. But they carried on producing them as a sort of a lower-priced alternative to the 1360, and I think these are actually the more handsome of the two versions. I do like these. Really practical classic cars. Light steering, easy to see out of, great to drive. Quite tunable little engine if that is your wish. Of course, if you want a straight six, you could go and buy a Triumph Vitesse. What a lovely little car that is. Okay. Let's have a quick scoot round here. So what's this? The Porsche 912, the four-cylinder brother of the six-cylinder air-cooled 911. But this was a 912, and many people actually say these handle slightly nicer because the engine is just that little bit lighter, having two fewer cylinders than the six-cylinder 911. So these have their own very enthusiastic following now. Oh, great looking car. Something for everyone here maybe. Sunbeam Alpine. It's 1967. The 46 era of BMW convertible, the M3 convertible. A shortage of MGBs here today. So a Hooper modified Ford Capri.
Correct.
Is that what we're looking
That's
at
what
here?
we're looking at, yeah.
Well, so what are the differences in that interior compared to a regular?
Well, what they did was, when you bought your car, you paid £901 for your car,
All right.
and you submitted it to Hooper,
Right.
and they threw a load of options at you,
Right.
which normally ran from about £500 to £1,000. So all of a sudden,
Wow.
if you went for the top spec, you could be paying E-Type Jaguar money. But
Really?
basically, what did this
By the
one?
time you load it up.
What they did was they ripped the whole interior out, put a Rolls-Royce interior in it.
Oh, right.
Walnut dash. It's a non-standard dashboard. They put their own dashboard in. 12 coats of paint.
Really?
Numerous upgrades. But as I say, if you were willing to spend money with them, they keep
take it
going.
off you,
They
they'd
keep
take it off
going.
you,
Yeah,
wouldn't
of course. And in some instances, they are dearer than an E-type Jaguar, believe it or not.
So did you buy it in this condition,
No,
or did
Paul
you have to restore
Paul
it?
restored it.
Oh right, no, he's sat at the back there, is he? Oh right.
Paul
no.
restored it.
Wow.
Took 3 years to restore it. This
bet.
is number 25 of. They only ever did 40.
And I can't imagine there are too many
And
left
the
now.
Two. There's 2 on the road in the
Two.
UK, and this is one of them.
Wow.
There's this one which is number 25, and I think the one that's in the other one is in Cornwall, is it?
Yeah, but there'll be more, won't they? Because Lee's
There'll be
doing
more.
it.
Lee's doing it. Yeah, with a friend of ours that's got one,
Oh,
which is in
right.
the process of going through it
So
now.
they're slowly.
So slowly they will appear.
But not many. If they
But
only
no-
made, was it 40?
There's there's about 4 or 5
Right,
survive, but some
right.
of them are basket cases.
Yeah, I can
they're
imagine.
they're
Can
only
imagine.
around because of the Hoopers.
Because of what it is.
Yeah, because of what it's been, you know.
Yeah. No, it's
So yeah, it's sort of a
so it's mechanically, is it the same? Or
Exactly.
So it's a standard Ford running gear.
exact
then,
standard Ford running gear. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah,
is it
it's a
column?
1500. No, this, you could get them column.
Right.
This happens to be floor.
Oh, of course, yeah, I couldn't see it with the steering wheel. Right, there we go. Wow. Nice. That's very swish. And is it different? Is there something about the rear lights that's different? Let's have a quick look around the back here.
You get your brake and your indicator. But of course, what they've done here is they've
Ah,
done it
yes.
in reverse.
Right, I've got you. So they've added on the reverse light.
They've added on a reverse light. But some of the very expensive ones have got electrical windows.
Have they?
Yeah.
Electric windows. Wow.
Windows back in
And
60s.
Hooper badges.
Whatever.
Wow.
This gentleman saw it smaller.
Yeah, I'm sure it was at Smallwood I saw it.
I didn't take this one.
Did you not?
Seen
I've
it
seen it somewhere.
Yeah.
I've seen it something. Yeah.
Yeah, I've not been small with it.
I can't remember going smaller.
No.
So would these have been available from a regular Ford garage, or would you have had to go to a Hoopers
No,
themselves?
no, you bought the car at Ford.
And they would then put you on to
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I got you. Right, so
Then
yeah,
obviously when it got there, you decided what
yeah.
options you wanted from the list.
Yeah.
Wow.
When this car left Ford's, it was sage green with a white roof.
Was it?
Spruce
Oh yeah, spruce green.
Oh,
sorry.
spruce green was it? Right.
Spruce green with a white roof.
Got you.
And of course, the lady that owned it wanted it maroon.
Oh, right. So they sorted that out for her, did
Seems
they?
to have been a standard colour for Hoopers, maroon, because quite a lot of them are maroon.
Certainly suits it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks well in it.
It suits a dark colour, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks alright.
With all the chrome and everything, it really.
Yeah, the chrome things off it, yeah.
Not proper number plates as well.
Yeah,
Proper ace plates, yeah. We like the old ace plates. Well, what a stylish little car that is. Oh, fantastic. Amazing that survived. Did you have to remake the sticker for the window, or is that the...
eBay special?
Is it?
They must sell it to Rolls Royce people and back.
Oh, of course. Right. Oh. What a great looking car. Immaculately restored example of the Hooper converted, the Hooper modified Ford Consul Capri. Got a gaggle of classic Volkswagen Beetles here as well. There's a Toyota MR2 Club just over the back there. Several older Volvos there as well. I can see an Amazon, so I might have to have a quick look at that. A Beetle converted to suicide doors. Capri 280 here, or a pair of them in fact, the Brooklyns, the end of the line Ford Capris. Volvo P1800 ES. The Volvo Amazon, the 123 GT. Had a good close look at this one. I think it was at the Middlewich Classic Car Show, somewhere like that. 240 estate over there. Quite a few modern Volvos. Right, I'm not sure where my youthful assistant has disappeared to. It can't be far away. A few more classic British cars here. The Riley RM Roadster, 2.5 litre version of the Riley RM series. Morris Minor Traveller, and the Humber Super Snipe. This is the latest example with the quad headlamp setup, but it's still got the curvy wraparound windows, the front and rear. So So the slightly earlier cars just had a single headlight per side, then they went to this twin headlight arrangement. Very similar to the old checker cabs in America and New York. Those yellow taxis look very, very similar to this. Like I say, this has still got the wraparound windscreen and the rear window. But later cars, later examples of these, they had a much squarer roofline. This has got the really curvy wraparound rear window, a bit like that of the Volvo Amazon. But later cars, they did sort of square things off quite a lot more. Same as they did on the Hillman Minxes and the Hillman Super Minx. It's still part of the same roots group, of course. So they freshened up all the designs in the 1960s with a squarer roofline just to get a little bit more mileage out of their existing cars. Yeah, lovely to see that really nice example there. And here on the end, an Austin Allegro from about 1977 or 1978. The 34 5 Series, the M5 version. Trio of classic XJSs. This is the XJSC, which was sort of like a halfway house convertible before the full-on XJS convertible was introduced. It's got a bit of a roof frame, a bit of a roof bar over the top, just like the Triumph Stag, or very similar looking anyway to the Triumph Stag arrangement. Not a full convertible, that will come a little bit later. So the XJSC is a fairly rare variant now. We've got a coupe alongside that. It's a V12, 5.3 litres. They did do some 6 litre versions later, but that'll be a 5.3. Got the Reliant Scimitar GTE here, the SE6 Mark II Ford console. Probably got a little bit warm coming in this morning. Oh, really smart car. Look at this Lancia here. Is it a Lancia? Yes. Wow. Oh, hello, sir.
Hello.
We meet again.
I've just been interviewing the owner of the Invicta.
We've got a Morris 8 Series 1 pickup truck for sale here. There you go, there's the details if anyone fancies taking that on. Yeah.
That's cool.
What a lovely Pininfarina bodied Lancia. So what is it? Flaminia. 1964. It's a breezy old day here today. And there's a little Barclay T60, not three-wheeler, but the Excelsior engine hung out the front there. '64 Morris Minor, Rolls-Royce Shadow 2, Silver Shadow 2, complete with the little brushes to keep your headlights clean. 6.75 litres. And here on the end is that magnificent Invicta Black Prince. That, yes, we saw this at Goresworth. I think that was the most recent time we saw this one, the Goresworth Classic Car Show. What an amazing looking car. With the Frisky Sport on the trailer behind it.
The engine was bespoke made for this car. So they made 17 engines just for this run of cars. And there were nothing else.
Roses. What an incredibly stylish car. It's 1946 Wentworth Saloon 6-light Charlesworth Bodies Limited. 3 litre 6-cylinder double overhead cam, twin plug head and triple carburettors. Proper car, that is. Proper car, proper dashboard.
He rebuilt the engine when he found it in 1979.
I remember seeing this years and years ago at shows such as Kelsall, Steam Rally in the early 2000s. I remember seeing it there. And Astle Park, I've got photos of it at Astle as well. And on the trailer there's this amazing Frisky Sport. What a great combination that is. Two cars couldn't be more different from each other. The Frisky Owners Club often have a really good stand at the NEC, the huge classic car show down at the National Exhibition Centre every year. And there's usually a really good turnout of these little frisky sports there, but you don't see them too often elsewhere. I remember seeing one at Malvern many years ago. Oh, what a great combination on the back, being towed by this fantastic Invicta Black Prince of 1946. What a stunning bit of kit that is. I love those spats over the rear wheels. What an incredible looking car that is. Absolutely amazing shape. And as the information sheet said, you've got a separate distributor per bank. That's a rare sight, the Mustang Cobra 2. You don't see these very often over here. A90 Atlantic. There's the boot space. Oh, what a great. There's always a bit of a quirk of these. The chassis plate was attached to the rear visor. It was the same on the old Austin A40 Somerset that I had, which was a similar age to this many years ago, 20 odd years ago I had that. A bonkers car that is. You alright? Aye. Right, okay. Sandwiches beckon. Over on the historic rally car stand I spotted a Mark 1 A40, another Mark 1 Austin A40, so I had to come and have a look at that. Look at that, wow. Got a feeling I may have seen this one a few years ago taking part in a historic rally somewhere. 7240HY. I'll have a look at the registration and see if I've got any other photos of this car. But yeah, Farina Grey, Mark 1, Austin A40. Slightly earlier than ours because it's got the flying A set into the trim in the centre of the bonnet. Only the very early 1958-59 cars had that particular feature. Ours hasn't got that, ours is in 1960. Another giveaway of a fairly early A40 Mark 1 is a little domed number plate light there, because the slightly later Mark 1s have a longer horizontal number plate light, so that's a little feature of an early as opposed to a slightly later Mark 1 Austin A40. Seem to have a cluster of classic Mantas over here. Don't want to miss all these. Don't remember seeing this one before. So we've got a Mark II Jaguar on the end here. So it's a 3.8.
They're all 3.8.
Oof, very nice indeed. I'm intrigued to see the engine space, the accessibility, because an S-Type has been on the possibles list. I've been looking at one or two of those. The only thing that puts me off slightly is the engine accessibility. So we've got the Mark II here, and then we've got this, the S-Type Jaguar.
How do you get to the spark?
Well, yeah, if you take the airbox off, you can get at the spark plugs because they're down the centre. Your standard XK engine, a straight six, twin overhead cam engine, 2 SU carburetors, and the distributor is way down there. So it's a little bit of a stretch, but not too bad.
An old style sticker on the battery.
Oh, proper sticker on the battery, we like that. We don't like inappropriate stickers on batteries, do we? Well, I don't. I don't think you're bothered really, but yeah, we were. One of these was on the Mark 1 on the end here, 3.8.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they ever sold those, they were 3.8 originally. But this is the S-Type, so this was like a revised, updated version of the Mark II, but importantly has the independent rear suspension, inboard disc brakes and so on. Manual overdrive. What a beautiful interior that is.
Mark 1's probably my favourite, just because it's got that gorgeous sort of steel.
It's a very, very handsome car indeed, 3.8S. And then this itself, this would be revised and updated and become the Jaguar 420 and the Daimler Sovereign, with the bluffer front, very similar to the XJ that came along not long after. I think these are really handsome looking cars. I love the slightly hooded section over the headlamps there. So folks, Mark II, classic Mark II, or a slightly later S-Type, or would you go for the Mark I, the predecessor to the Mark II? I think I'd go for one of these in the Curiosity blue.
I love the interiors of these.
Yeah, I just like these. I like the thicker window surrounds of the Mark Is. These are available with the 2.4 or the 3.4 litre engine, but this one's clearly been uprated to the full fat 3.8. Yeah. What a beauty that is.
I like the earlier side interiors, with the dials in the middle.
Oh, right, yeah.
Mark 5 and Mark 9.
Oh, I see what you mean, yes.
Yeah.
It's just an earlier dash, isn't it?
Is that overdrive?
I like the earlier Jaguar script on the boot lid as well.
Yes, yeah. That's like the Mark 9, isn't it?
Yes, it's like the Mark 9, you're right. Yeah, so 3 classic Jaguar saloons.
There's something also very
Which
nice.
would you go for, is there?
Yeah.
And here we have an Austin Healey.
106.
106, straight 6 engine there, the Austin engine. Right, the other parking area is somewhere over there. Somewhere over in the background over there. So I think we will amble in that general direction, shuffle our way over, see what cars ended up parking over there, because we don't want to miss those, do we? So, weather's still alright, bit of a breezy old day, slightly overcast but dry, that's the main thing. Alright, so I've come over to the other parking area now. And there's the lovely Mark I, early Mark I Lotus Cortina, belongs to a friend of ours. He always comes to these events and he's always here up with the lark. I'm sure he was here before it was even daylight. Yeah. Subtly tuned engine here. What a beautiful example of early Lotus Cortina. Right, let's carry on along here. We've got a couple of vintage machines. Now what do we have here? Is this a Chalmers or something? Is it a Chalmers? Yeah. Chalmers Motor Company, Detroit, Michigan. Brass era car. Fantastic. What year is that? Mid-teens, late teens, something like that. What an incredible Survivor. Look at this beautiful seating here. Look at the seating arrangement. How comfortable does that look? All the brass gauges there on the dash. Over 100 years old. The automatic windshield, manufactured by Superior Manufacturing Company, Ann Arbor, Michigan, USA. What a stunning car that is. I wonder what views have been seen through that windscreen, or windshield rather, over the years. Yeah. What a stunning bit of kit that is. No brakes on the front, of course, just big heavy kingpins. So you've got the kingpins that side, a kingpin this side with the optional, presumably, speedo drive. That's what those gears there, that's the drive up to the speedometer. That's probably, well, it may have been an aftermarket fitting. I know on the Model T's it would have been an aftermarket, but on these, slightly more upmarket than Model T's and the like, so this may have been a standard fitting, but yeah, all very mechanical. And what a beauty that is. So this is 1913, there's the engine of this Chalmers
4-cylinder.
Is it 4 cylinders?
36 horsepower, 5 litres.
Have you had this long time then? Or?
About 23, 24 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Came into the country in 86.
86,
A
right.
guy from Cambridge bought it. Used it for his daughter's wedding. Well, got it up and running.
Yeah.
Used it for his daughter's wedding.
Wow.
But he was more interested. Got a bobtail Cooper that he raced. So this sort of sat in a corner and didn't get used.
Right.
And I bought it off him. So
Well, it's got the original. So it's got the original sort of fan belt there with the links, the sort of leather links, isn't it? So you just make that to your own,
make it to your own length.
whatever length you needed. Yeah, that's fantastic. So you got the exposed rocker gear on the top
Yeah,
there.
we've got twin spark plugs, 2 plugs per cylinder.
Oh, I see. Yes, you got 4 plugs on the top,
Yeah.
and another 4 over on the
There's
side.
a switch on the dash. I can turn that far bank of plugs off if I wish, but I don't. I get a bit.
What, just for cruising sort of thing?
Yeah,
So once you're up to speed, you could disable.
Can disable those.
Well, that's quite advanced for its time. So where would these have been in sort of the ranking?
They were quite a
Were they-
high-class car in America. They weren't a cheap car.
No.
Some of the American presidents had Charmers.
Oh, right.
And they also had a racing team called the Blue Dolphins that were very successful in the early years as well.
Wow.
They were quite an advanced car.
Yeah.
Silly things like the bulkhead, which is aluminium.
So it's a big casting, is it?
In Europe, they were still wooden bulkheads
Yeah,
in
yeah.
1930.
So that's just a
Silver
huge,
Ghost.
so it's like a huge aluminium casting then.
Yeah.
Wow, that's quite something, that, isn't it? Of course, a lot of stuff still hasn't been standardised either by this point in time, has it? So this is 1913,
Yeah.
so it's 110 years
10
old,
years old.
and yet it's got the regular sort of ignition, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So would it have been on a mag?
It
There's a mag
it's
there, isn't there?
Originally, it
Oh,
was
right.
a compressed air starting system.
Was it?
So there would have been a Kellogg compressor fitted here, which I've got.
Oh,
But
right.
they're very fragile and very
Right, got you.
temperamental.
Are they?
So it's easier to take them off and swing it by hand, even though it's 5
Right,
litres.
yeah. Just one turn. And
Well, if you get it primed properly,
yeah.
she starts fairly easily. But you can imagine 5 litres when she's cold, thick oil.
So are these primers?
Priming cups.
So they're priming
Yeah, priming
cups. So you put a drop in there. Right, yeah. Yeah, sort of kind of almost a little bit sort of agricultural and
It is
aircraft,
very
isn't it? Very
agricultural,
bit
yeah.
sort of, there were a lot of similarities, weren't there, between
yeah.
the different, and you've got the exposed valve gear on the side there. Yeah, it really is something, isn't it? Let's have another quick peek inside. I was just admiring this wonderful seat before.
Well, the cushions have been recovered, but obviously the sides you can see
Yeah.
the original horsehair.
It's
That's not
very,
been done.
looks very comfortable in there.
And then the dash.
Speedo. Oops, that's my. Just have a quick peer in there. The Jones speedometer. Ooh. It's with the
It's
brace on the
got a-
clutch. Is it clutch?
That's the clutch pedal.
It is a clutch, isn't it?
The
Yeah.
centre one is the accelerator and then the brake pedal. The stick, it's a Hellishaw clutch, multi-plate clutch.
Oh,
It's
right.
got 32 plates in the clutch that run in a bath of oil.
Oh, I
And
see.
what the stick does, it holds the clutch open, holds the plates apart.
Right.
Because if I didn't, the plates would stick, and obviously then I can't get it in gear when we come to leave. So it makes it a lot easier to get it in gear.
So did you learn that the hard way?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like that
Somebody
sort of
once
thing.
asked me if that's the original stick. I said no, it wasn't an optional extra. No.
Yeah. Looks
I
imperial,
get
though,
upset
doesn't
when
it?
people have asked if I've had it from you, but that's another thing.
Oh, what a fantastic car. No, well, it's great to see it here today at Trentham. What a glorious looking machine. Well, isn't that lovely vintage Chalmers a real treat? Look at the twin spares on the back as well. Fantastic. Okay, let's carry on along here. Now this is a late 1920s Dodge Victory 6. We've seen this one at a number of events, so we won't spend too long here, but beautiful old car again, about 1928 I think this one is. We've seen this one at Smallwood and various other shows over the last few years. Fantastic. And here we have an Austin 10 Litchfield, again regular at many of the classic car shows we get to. So let's have a look at this then. A Jaguar E-Type Series 3 E-Type with a V12 5.3 litre engine, 4 Stromberg carburetors there feeding that very thirsty engine. Automatic gearbox in this one, some of them are manual. I don't know what the proportion was, but I would imagine most of them were autos because these were very much the GT rather than the sports car. A very smooth engine, wonderful smooth engine. Right, let's carry on along here. We've got an Armstrong Siddeley Sapphire. Don't see many of those around now. We approve of the battery sticker, the Lucas battery sticker.
The same way, but there's a chemical reaction. So people do convert.
What a beauty that is. Isn't that wonderful? And the Sphinx mascot there, proudly on top of the Armstrong Siddeley radiator grille there. What a great setting this is. A bit of history here, 1954.
Why is it all black and painted? That's beloved.
A real quality car. A beautiful example. Right, carry on. Jaguar XK. Which one's that? The 140. XK 140. What do we have over here? Looks like a Humber to me. Is that a Humber? Yep, that's a Humber. Beautiful Humber Tourer. Wow, isn't that's a nice looking car. And it's got the what they call the Oster screen in the back here to give the rear seat passengers a bit of protection from the wind, because when the roof's down it does get very blowy in the back of these Tourers. Mrs. OCC remembers all too well riding in the back of our old Dodge Tourer, and she used to get blown around quite a lot. What a fantastic trunk on the back. Oh heavens. What a stunning vintage car. And I love this era of Humber with the V sort of pointy dashboard and the screens that do the same. Look at the pipe rack. Bit of classic pipe action there. Yeah. Isn't that beautiful? How comfortable does that seat look? This looks proper motoring. One of your EVs here. Look at this. It is desirable that this radiator be filled with soft water. That's very similar to that rad that someone donated to the OCC garage earlier, a few months ago. This is a 1926 Humber 1225 open top Tourer. Slow but sure and very comfortable. Crash gearbox and double declutching, no power steering. Isn't that wonderful? Look at all the few nice little accessories here. The Brame oil can. We've got a jack down there. There's the gravity fuel feed, the auto vac, as we've discussed before, for the benefit of anyone who hasn't seen the previous videos.
Do you like the jack?
Hey? Hello sir, yes, yeah, the jack is great, isn't it? So, manifold, vacuum pressure, draws up the fuel from the tank, and then it runs via gravity into the carburettor, which is over on the other side with the engine over there. Yeah, I was just admiring that. Look at that, that's the same as that one we've got back in the garage, isn't it? That's got that plaque on. Right, let's carry on along here. There's that magnificent Rolls Royce.
I've got good news for you, Dad. There's a standard 8 over there.
There's a standard 8, is there?
Yeah.
Ooh, let's...
Go left, go left.
Yeah, well, we'll work our way over there because there's more cars over there, so we will get over there soon, but...
It's like a concourse section.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, this is a... So we've got a Cadillac Fleetwood here. A vast Cadillac, 1964 registered. Well, it's the smaller fins. Well, the 59 had the huge fins, and then they sort of calmed them down a little bit for the 1960s.
Yeah, it looks pretty calm.
The Corvette. So what are these? The C1?
Hey.
It's the revised C1, isn't it? Because the earlier C1s had a single lamp per side. This is a 59 according to the Yup number plate. What a great looking car that is. A little bit more classic police car action. A Plymouth Satellite. What year is that? Late? Oh, it's mid-60s, 1965. That is quite cool, that is. City of Portland. Portland, Oregon. Sirens and lamps on the roof. Well, I bet this thing's seen some action. When starting, check column selector, cover the brake, 2 pumps on accelerator and start. It's got all the old radio gear in there as well, Motorola. I think it's great that these old vehicles are preserved with all the old kit that they had when they were in service. And over here, Chevrolet Bel Air 55 to 57, these were built.
57.
Is this a 57, is it? Yeah.
It's the one people want the most.
It is, yes. Yeah, they have different trim on the rear wings, the rear fenders, I think.
And maybe the bumpers at the front.
There's the LaSalle, 1940. Yeah. Incredible vehicle. The mighty Caddy. I've seen this one at Crew Heritage many times over the years, the last few years. Super distinctive colour. What an incredible colour that is. And this pickup truck tends to go to the same places that the Caddy does as well. It's popular here today. Right, it's a Fiat 500. Looking very sweet here on the end. Protected by the Mafia. We've got some Italian music playing. Comes with your own Pavarotti. Right. Morris Minor, but what a beauty that is. A Morris Minor 1000 Traveller. Fairly early example with still with the semaphore pop-up indicators.
Yeah, little tiny engine.
Clap hand wipers, so sort of late 50s, 1960 maybe, that sort of age. But yeah, nice colour as well. Really, really nice example. Oh, and here is the little Standard 8 that Harley was telling me about. Wow, that's a super clean example, isn't it? What a great little car. This one's a little bit older than ours. It's got the slidey door windows front and rear, whereas ours had the luxury of wind-up windows front and rear, and this still has the semaphore indicators. So this has got your little semaphore indicators on the B pillar here, little pop-up trafficators. You can get those, you can get little flashing bulbs to go in those now, so that makes sense because the originals didn't flash. And we got a nice old radio, the old wireless on the back seat there. Oh, what a great little car. Ooh. Standard 8 instruction book, got the old RAC handbook, we approve of that, and a little Kodak Brownie Flash Mark IV camera. We like all the little period mods, little modifications, little accessories, slightly earlier door handles as well. So this has got the twist door handles, whereas ours has got the little button. So at first glance you think this was identical to our car, because ours is also the model without the opening rear boot lid. You get to the boot area by folding the backrests down on the rear seats. So that is common to this particular car on our own. But this, in detail, is quite a lot different to ours, even though at first glance you'd think it was pretty much identical, bar the colour. Yep, that's it, quite an early one. The really early ones, they didn't even have chrome hubcaps.
Yeah, that might have been after.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look at there's a bit of info in the window.
What the name is.
Oh, it's called Stanley. 1955. My name is Stanley and I was born in 1955. It's only a year before ours. Cost of a Standard 8 in 1953 was £481 after tax. Oh, a sweet little car. Over here, we've got a Morris Minor, a Series 2 Morris Minor. Split windscreen, just like the earlier Highlight MM that came before, but at this point in time it had the A series engine, the BMC's overhead valve engine, 803cc, same capacity as a Standard 8 over there, but totally different engine. Right, let's carry on along here. Audi Quattro parking. An immaculate XK150 here. Look at the shine on that. I'm kind of glad I don't have to polish those.
Yeah, right, yeah,
What an immaculate example.
Hard to tell with the bonnet, isn't it?
Well, the door line's higher on the 150 compared to the 140.
Do you rate the Trico?
Yes, a very nice windscreen washer reservoir there, the proper glass one.
Yeah, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't mind that much.
I do like those. RS Turbo, Series 1 or Phase 1 or whatever, early Escort RS Turbo. A big V8 Aston Martin here. There's Timothy Dalton when you need him. A Lotus Elan Sprint, very nice too. We like yellow cars. Nice. TVR here. Rolls Royce Silver Spirit. Austin, Cambridge. Staffordshire registered. Austin, Cambridge.
Yeah, this is nice.
Yeah, local registration. EH, Staffordshire. So, is this an A40 or an A50 Cambridge?
It's an A40. Yeah.
Is it the A40? It's the earliest one.
Yeah, it's an A40.
With the...
Nice condition.
Yeah.
Nice and original.
Yeah, it's lovely, lovely original car. So I've got these distinctive sort of hips at the back. So this is the A40, the 1200cc car. I think the A50 was 1500cc, I think. This is the A40, one of the earliest cars to be fitted with a BMC B-Series engine. Quite nice interior, very simple interior, painted dash, column gear change.
I'd like it if it wasn't column shift.
Wants a nice Lucas sticker on there, doesn't it? Oh,
Yeah.
that'll look good on there. Yeah, super clean example of a rare car. You don't see many of these. These and the A55s that came later, they always tended to rot out. Where the seam is here, where the roof comes down and where it joins, because these wings bolt on. But there's a ledge under here. And the mud always builds up and they rot out. So when you see these cars, more often than not, you can see bubbling all around here. It's an unusual place. You don't tend to see cars rotting there. It's just one of the funny little quirks of these A40s and A50s.
One thing I like about this is it sort of like really sums up the 50s like curvy style.
It is, yeah, very
But
50s,
then
isn't it?
Austin, about 5 years later, was all straight fins.
Yeah, that's it. They went to Farina.
50s versus 60s is just dead.
Yeah, it's just a few years later they got Farina on board and
Suddenly everything was just straight fins.
yeah,
This is all curvy.
yeah, that's right. Proper curvy 50s car.
What's your preference?
I like both, to be honest. I mean, this is very similar to like the Morris Cowley and the Oxford of the same era. Very similar shape to it.
Yeah,
you
with
know.
like a bit of Wolseley as well.
Yeah. That's lovely, that is. And on proper cross-ply tyres as well. You like that? Just as it should be. The old pattern cross-ply tyre. They're those two X19s we saw driving in earlier on. Very stylish little cars. So look, there's the roof panel. So there's the roof panel, so you can lift it out. A bit like the Surrey roof on the Triumph TRs. And you can lift out the panel and pop it in the front here, in the front storage area, because of course these are mid-engine cars.
I'd choose one of these over a TR.
Yeah. Actually, the accessibility isn't too bad, because one of the things that puts me off about mid-engine cars is they can be a nightmare to get at the engines, but this actually doesn't look too bad. There's all the ignition stuff at the back, on this back there. I've never really had a close look at one of these with the bonnet up. Yeah, you can get at the distributors down there, the dizzy cap and so on. So it's actually... the accessibility is better than I thought it would be. It really is. Yeah, it's not too bad to work on at all. Look at that interior, how classic 1970s is that? This is one of the limited edition cars. I can't quite remember what they were called. It's a fairly late one with the bigger bumpers. The earlier X19s had much smaller bumpers on them. I think this is probably an earlier one here.
Yes. I really like this one. I think the gold wheels and little sort of tricolore that's everywhere.
Yeah, it is neat, isn't it? A bath. Super clean Porsche 911 here. We're back to classic Jaguars, the Mark II Jaguar. What a cracker that is. So what engine are we at here? 3.4. Many people say that's the best one to have. Bit revier perhaps than the 3.8. Is that the Automobile Club of Monaco perhaps? Not quite sure. Look at this, Renault 5 Turbo. Yeah, that's neat, isn't it?
I like the Alpine wheels.
Yeah. Those are really hard to find, those covers for the fog lights, those SEV Marshall plastic covers. It is, isn't it? It's great, isn't it? If you're in any doubt that you are following the turbo version, the big sticker in the rear window dispels any doubts. Renault 5 Gordini Turbo. Yeah, a very cool little car. Over here we've got the Mercury Cougar, which was kind of a contemporary of the notchback Ford Mustang. This is a 67. There's a real variety of cars here today at Trentham Gardens. Right, and there, a Jowett. The Jowett Javelin.
It's really as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we have seen this one recently. Let's have a peer in through the window. Very advanced car for their day. Right, let's carry on along here. There's that glorious Rolls Royce we saw coming in before. What a quality car this is. Just wonderful car. There's a Spirit of Ecstasy there, proudly atop the Rolls Royce radiator grille. Look at the toolkit over there on the passenger side under the glove box.
It's so imposing, and compared to the and I wasn't disappointed with it. I'd never been in a Rolls Royce.
There's a chauffeur's hat and gloves. There's their lift-up partition there.
And I wasn't disappointed. It glides. It doesn't drive, it just glides. And the back seat.
Look at the lines on that.
I bet that would be quite nice to drive.
Clearly this old 1920s Humber is a much loved motor car. Lots of little knickknacks. Okay. Just walking back the way we came before, I'm just really impressed at how original this Jaguar looks under the bonnet, this 5.3 litre V12 E-Type. Original paint there on the bulkhead. It just has a feel of quite an original car.
It just looks right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It doesn't look tarted up or anything, it's just
right.
It
just looks like
honest.
a good used car, isn't it?
Just honest.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I like the colour as well.
Yeah, Bahama Gold.
Bahama Gold, is it?
Yeah.
That's the colour that my uncle's GTM was, I think. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was the same colour as that.
Jag colour.
Yes. Tinted glass.
Just need some old stickers on the battery.
Yeah, we need an old battery in there, don't we?
How would you get the stickers off?
Just peel them off.
Oh, they're not those like horrible ones.
No.
That's kept really nice.
Well, it is, isn't it? Ooh, look at this. A Ligier. Is that related to Ligier as in old Grand Prix cars of the 1970s? Le Mans sports cars of the 1960s, 1970s? Answers on a postcard, please. That's quite a cool little thing, actually. I quite like that. Looks like an Airstream. I mentioned Triumph Heralds before. We were looking at that lovely 1200, the late example of a 1200 saloon, and here is the 1360, the 1300cc Triumph Herald. A very different front with a slopey headlight, sort of bits over the headlights, similar to the Vitesse. Of course, the Vitesse had 2 circular headlamps per side. Yeah. And here we've got another Jaguar 2+2, this time the 6-cylinder engine. We were looking at the V12 a few moments ago. Oh, yeah, lovely straight 6 triple carburetors, triple SUs on the E-types. Mark II's had just a 2 carburetor setup. I don't think you could fit the triples very easily under the bonnet. There's that lovely console, a lovely, lovely car. Next to the Scimitar GTE. There's the BMW Club stand we had a look at before. The Saab 96 V4, quite a late one with the big rubber safety bumpers on it. Windows open, so we can have a peer inside. These seats are very similar to those on the Saab 99s, which by this point in time was a contemporary of it.
And what are these wheels called again?
These are the Ronal wheels.
Sorry, I just want to make sure. I love the look of this Scimitar here. It's really nice.
Sorry?
This
yeah.
Looks really nice now.
Yeah, it's a good looking car. I like these. I like these Scimitars a lot.
What is that Toyota? That's very unacceptable.
Now we're back over here near where we started out many hours ago. But fortunately the karaoke's finished, so we can have a proper look at this fantastic old Plymouth. I wanted to have a closer look at this one, but it wasn't really feasible before, but now we can. What a rare, rare car this is, the Plymouth Belvedere.
Side pipes. Something I really like that bit.
Yeah. What a wild looking car. So what year is that then? About 58?
I said late 50s and very early 60s.
About 1950. Yeah, 58 I would have thought. 58, maybe 59. At the height of the Find era, before they started tailoring things and just trimming things back a little bit.
Very boxy.
There's another one we missed before amongst all these elderly BMWs. We've got this, the Daimler XJ. It's a private number plate that would have been on a much older car once upon a time, TSR 22. So this is a 1970s Daimler version of the XJ saloon, the long wheelbase saloon.
Arena, please.
It's got quite a rare sunroof arrangement. Really large glass sliding roof. Looks like a period conversion as opposed to some of the pop-up glass sunroofs that you see.
And representing the country is MMOC.
Yeah.
Morris Minor Van.
Nice one.
Fantastic.
Looks like it needs an old classic car sticker in there. Check out the OCC merchandise shop for OCC branded stickers and other goodies, and indeed items in there relating to so many different classic cars, Triumphs, MGs, Jaguars, that kind of thing. Bit of everything in there, so check out the link in the description please, and that's a great way of supporting the channel, just by maybe picking up 1 or 2 little bits and bobs.
And a Ford sedan hot rod. It's red and black, owned by Eddie Heath.
A few cars are just starting to leave Trentham now. It's a lovely Rover P4, the 105S. That is followed by an equally immaculate, nice early Triumph 2000 P6. What a great pair.
Okay, so we need you to go to them. Okay, so we're looking for
Hey, Mum.
No, little Honda Beat.
Sort of mid-engine,
Yeah.
sort of sketchy.
It's one of those little K cars, isn't it? These really tiny cars.
It's either nippy or sketchy. Red line's at 9.
VW camper, it's cream, and we have, it's a boom. We've got the Rewacko. I hope I've said that right. That's also a trike, it's red. It's
With a car, and sometimes we'll be just talking to a person. Nothing about mollywing away. What do you have today? A big good day?
Yeah, it has been really
I'll turn page 2 of the script. There, off you go. Because the boss is here now. So representing the runner 8514 UP.
I know.
Yeah, so. Americans, runner-up, white Ford Mustang.
Yeah, there are definitely a few cars leaving now. So let's see what goes. We've seen a few going out already. There's the Nissan Skyline, taking it very gingerly over the rutted, slightly muddy ground. And behind that, that stunning Ecuria Cos Blue 3.8 litre Mark 1 Jaguar Saloon. Possibly my car of the day. Let me know in the comments which of these cars you would most like to grace your own garage or driveway. That is just such a classy looking car. I think that is just beautiful. Looks right, sounds right, beautiful interior. As Harley said, love the early style dash as well. Yeah, what a great looking bit of kit. And its younger cousin behind it. Right, we're just going to head over again to the auto jumble area just to have a final scoot around in case there are any real bargains to be had as the show slowly starts to wind down for 2023. What an incredible car this Belvedere is, this Plymouth Belvedere. The VW Beetle contingent, they're starting to head off as well now. That's the auto jumble area, and yes, it had to happen. Right, what have you got? Oh, a gunk tin. Yeah, you've got one similar to that already, haven't you?
Well, I've got two.
Different sizes.
I've got same sort of shape one, which is the early one.
Right.
And then I've got the same design as that, which is like
Yeah,
a flat one.
cool.
And
And
Shell one,
the Shell X100.
which is a bit
Let's have a look at
battered,
that.
but it looks nice.
But how nice is that? It's super original, but what I particularly like about this is the cap. Look at that Shell X100 cap.
And then this is probably my favourite.
That's really nice. I love that cap. Yeah, what a lovely little can.
This
And
is my
thirdly,
favourite, a motorbike Lucas battery filler.
oh, the battery filler for a motorcycle.
Yeah, it says for
Does it?
a
No, motorcycle
I thought that
battery
was quite
filler.
an interesting
I've never seen one of
That's
those.
what I mean, that's why I got it.
I've seen the slightly larger ones,
That's
but I've never seen one of them before. So you've got a good trio of goodies there.
Display nice.
Yeah, you're putting me to shame with all these wise purchases. I haven't bought anything yet again. Yeah, nice find, sir. Thank you. Right, let's go back to the car then. We've walked past this Bentley on a couple of occasions, but it's a little bit quieter now. There are quite a few gaps. People are starting to head off now. But let's just have a look at this, what appears to be a super original Derby era, i.e. 1930s, when Bentleys were being sold at Derby. Embodied by your favoured coach builder of choice. But this one just looks, I'm guessing it may be an older restoration as opposed to totally original, but it's certainly, if it is a restoration, it has mellowed really, really nicely. It's an MGB Roadster heads off. Right, just look, what I like about this is the fact that it shows a bit of age. You can see where the chrome plating has been polished through over the years. It's not it's not nut and bolt restored. It just looks nicely weathered or patinated, as is the phrase of the day. But I just love the fact that it just shows a little bit of age. And as we just pan away from the Bentley, we'll turn around and admire that lovely four-door Austin A35 that was for sale. I wonder if it found a buyer. Wonder what's happening with the XJ over there. Back end jacked up in the air. Wonder if the handbrake's sticking or something like that. Maybe just a tyre swap. I know we've featured it before, but what a great little van.
You've still got to come out, you don't have to buy area at the bottom where the stores are. You come out opposite.
Looks like the A90 Atlantic is heading off as well now. There we go, column gear change. Is that the same engine as the A70? I think it probably is. Right, well, I think we will start heading off ourselves. Harley's already there waiting at the car for me. Always drives him up the wall how long it takes me to walk in the supposed straight line, because I always end up getting distracted. There goes the little 2CV van, the fourgonette. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. Please check out the rest of the channel while you're here. Likes, comments, subs, all that kind of thing. Yada yada yada. Harley's just been doing a clip about his latest purchases. So thank you very much for watching. Please keep an eye on the channel for future uploads. Many more videos are planned. Bye for now.